up above his knee. I said I can relate, cause lately I've been thinking of combustication as a welcome vacation from the burdens of the planet Earth, gravity, hypocrisy, and the perils of being in 3D. But thinking so much disappointing. Never be the same. Pardon me while I burst into flames. Pardon me, pardon me, pardon me. So pardon me while I burst into flames. I've had enough of the world and its people's mindless gaze. So pardon me while I burn and rise above the flame. Pardon me, pardon me. I'll never be the same. Pardon me, never be the same. Yeah.
It's a local music spotlight on Lake Effect Radio. Instead of sleeping, volatile.
I am the match, you're the gasoline. I could sweep you off your feet or leave you begging on your knees. My body's burning up, but I haven't had enough of this drink to calm my nerves. Enough to say what you deserve. Can't even say your name. I might burst into flames, 'cause I am the match and you're the gasoline. I know it's not worthwhile. I crave the volatile.
This is Lake Effect Radio.
Good morning, and this is the News at 10 here on Lake Effect Radio. With your newsreader today, Ryan LeGrand. Panama's Attorney General has raided the offices of Mossack Fonseca law firm to search for any evidence of illegal activities. The Panama-based law firm is at the center of the, quote, Panama Papers leaks scandal that has embarrassed several world leaders and has shown a spotlight on the shadowy world of offshore companies. The National Police, in an earlier statement, said they were searching for documentation that, quote, would establish possible use of the firm for illicit activities. The firm has been accused of tax evasion and fraud. Police officers and patrol cars began gathering around the company's building under the command of prosecutor Javier Caravallo, who specializes in organized crime and money laundering. Mossack Fonseca, which specialized in setting up offshore companies, did not respond to requests for comment. Earlier, founding partner Ramon Fonseca said the company had broken no laws, destroyed no documents, and all of its operations were legal. Governments across the world have begun investigating possible financial wrongdoings after the leak of more than 11.5 million documents from the law firm that spans 4 decades. The papers have revealed financial arrangements of prominent figures, including friends of Russian President Vladimir Putin, relatives of Prime Minister of Britain and Pakistan, and of China's President Xi Jinping, and the President of the Ukraine. Professional hackers discovered at least one software flaw that helped the FBI break into an iPhone used by a San Bernardino attacker, the Washington Post claims. These hackers were paid a one-time flat fee, crackers were actually, for their help, the Post said last night, quoting people familiar with the case. The discovery of the flaw was used to fashion a piece of hardware that helped U.S. authorities dodge the iPhone's 4-digit personal identification number without activating a feature that would have erased all the data on the phone, the Post quoted the people familiar with the case as saying. The FBI would not have had trouble cracking the 4-digit PIN. The tricky part, in fact, was to deactivate a feature on the phone that erased data stored on the device after 10 incorrect tries at guessing the code, the Post said. In San Bernardino attack, 2 people, husband and wife, killed 14 people on December 2nd before dying in a firefight with police. 2 other phones linked to the pair were found destroyed after the attack. The government filed suit to try to force Apple to help break into the phone used by one of the shooters. Apple, backed by other tech giants such as Google and Facebook, amazingly enough, refused, citing concerns over digital security and privacy. The FBI announced late last month that it had managed to break into the phone with the help of undisclosed third party, ending the legal standoff. A signal controller at the center of the investigation of a German train crash that killed 11 people has admitted to playing a game on his mobile phone while in charge on the day. The man was detained after developments in the investigation into the head-on train collision in Bavaria in February, which was Germany's biggest train crash since 1998. He faces possible charges of causing death through negligence. The public prosecutor's office in Traunstein, near the border with Austria, said investigators had found the man, quote, turned on his mobile phone during a shift on the morning of the accident, started an online computer game, and played actively until just before the collision of the trains. The man denied being distracted by the computer game. But the prosecutor's office said the time period in which he was found to be playing the game meant it could be expected that he was not paying attention to a critical traffic intersection. The controller gave the trains an incorrect signal and then hit the wrong buttons when issued a distress signal, meaning it was not heard by the train conductors, the prosecutor's office said. The train, carrying about 150 people in all, crashed at high speed between the spa town of Bad Aibling and Kobelmoor near the Austrian border. Investigation is ongoing. No evidence of technical problems have been found to date. So it wasn't a signal pass danger, it was a wrong side failure on an operational level. Nice. No, wait, the other one. Belgian police arrested 3 people in the Brussels suburb during a new raid linked to the investigation of the November Paris attacks, federal prosecutors said. Prosecutors said the raid, which took place in Ussel, was carried out, quote, in the context of investigations that the federal prosecutor opened following the attacks in Paris on November 13th, which left 130 people dead and hundreds wounded. The investigating judge will decide tomorrow whether to continue holding the 3, it said, without giving any further details. Prosecutor's office announced earlier that Belgium had charged 2 new suspects over the March 22nd Brussels airport and metro bombings, left 32 people dead and hundreds wounded. Prosecutors identified the man as Smail F, S-M-A-L, born in 1984, and Ibrahim F, born in 1988. Prosecutors said there were, quote, indications that the 2 men could be linked to an address in the Etterbeek district of Brussels, which was raided last week. At the time, police said they found nothing yet at the address, but a report later suggested that 2 men, one of whom blew himself up in the Malabik metro station, may have stayed there or used it. The second man, later identified by authorities as Osama K, was apparently also carrying a bomb, but for reasons unknown, did not go through the attack. Presumably because he realized how stupid it would be. One would hope. 3 suicide bombers, 2 at the airport and 1 at the metro station in central Brussels, killed 32 people in Belgium's worst terrorist attack, which has been claimed by Daesh, as usual. Investigators may have found extensive links between Brussels and November Paris attacks, with many of the same people involved and linked to Daesh in Syria. Again, no surprise there. At the weekend, the authorities said they believe the Brussels cell originally planned to stage another attack in France, but the arrest of key Paris suspect Salah Abdeslam on March 18th, followed by massive police raids, caused them to switch and target Belgium. Over in Saudi Arabia now, the Saudi authorities have moved to curb the powers of the notorious religious police, or Mutawa. I probably mispronounced that, but I don't particularly care right now. Probably never will. Members for the Committee for the Promotion of Virtue and the Prevention of Vice will no longer be permitted to chase suspects or arrest them. They must instead report observations to security forces personnel. Religious police officers who roam the streets enforcing strict standards of social behavior are frequently accused of abusing their powers. Several were reportedly arrested in February for allegedly assaulting a young woman outside a shopping center in the capital Riyadh. Officers, presumably not. Yeah, presumably officers. In 2013, 4 officers were accused of causing a fatal car crash when they pursued 2 brothers who would refuse to turn the radio down in their vehicle. However, a court subsequently acquitted them. You just gotta love the Saudi justice system. The new law governing religious police was approved by the cabinet on Monday, but was not published by the official Saudi press agency until Tuesday. Officers will continue to help enforce strict segregation of the sexes, an absolute prohibition on the sale and consumption of alcohol, a ban on women driving, and many other social restrictions. But the new law stipulates that their mission has been amended to, quote, carrying out the duty promoting virtue and preventing vice in a gentle and humane way after the model set in this regard by the Prophet Muhammad and his rightful successors, unquote. They will also be obliged to display clear identification showing their names, posts, jurisdictions, and official working hours. In other words, uniforms. The law stipulates that officers will no longer be permitted to pursue suspects, arrest them, or ask for identification. Only report suspicious behavior to regular police and anti-drug units who will decide whether to take the matter further. Yeah, I don't understand why they do that. It's a waste of time. I mean, they could be targeting, like, I don't know, Daesh, perhaps. I don't know. Over in South Korea, political, well, most things around here are. The ruling party in South Korea has lost its majority in parliament after elections aimed at boosting its position. Exit poll suggests, the good old snafu election, which is basically a snap election, which is turned into a snafu. A snap election, by the way, for those who are not familiar with the idea, because we don't use it here in the United States, is basically when usually the head of a government, like a prime minister, decides, I think I'm popular right now, so to increase my majority, I'm going to call election right now instead of waiting until the term ends. It's conventionally used in Westminster-style systems, such as Canada, and until about 2010, I'm not sure when it looks at, after the 2010 election over in Britain, on which they basically decided on using fixed dates, because, frankly, the snap election idea was a load of crap, in their opinion, part of the coalition agreement, and is indeed binding in law. And basically, it's a way, if a leader wants to say, I'm gonna try to increase my support, and, it doesn't always work. I'm trying to think of several cases. I'm not sure, actually. Up in Canada, there was an election called recently, but I think that's because of the 5-year limit that they have, not because of a snap election. And obviously, the Tories, Conservatives, under then leader Stephen Harper, lost. But anyway, back to the story. That's snap elections for you. Exit polls forecast this Sainuri party to retain a slight lead over opponents, but not enough to secure a majority in the 300-member National Assembly. Sainuri previously had only a slim majority in the Assembly, one of the reasons why people call snap elections. It meant that President Park Geun-hye's time in office has been hampered by legislative gridlock. She was hoping for a stronger showing of support in the National Assembly would help her push through labor and economic reforms before her term in office expires in about 20 months' time. Ms. Park has been criticized over her handling of the economy, which has seen rising unemployment, particularly among the young, falling exports, and high levels of household debt. Polls ahead of the election suggest that Ms. Park's central-right party was on course to secure a substantial majority of seats. But as the votes started coming in, South Korea's public broadcaster KBS predicted that Sainuri would win between 121 and 120 seats, while the main opposition Minju party would secure 101 to 123 seats. Other TV polls suggested a similar outcome. Quote, obviously we're worried about the exit poll results, but we will calmly wait until the final ballot counts or results are returned. Sainuri's Woo Yu-chul told KBS TV. Final results are expected to become clear at about 3 p.m. GMT. This was published at about 8 o'clock local time, so 3, hold on, I'm going to check something here, because I do have GMT on my tablet here. Soon, either with imminent or within an hour's time, because I'm not sure if Britain is on their daylight savings time right now. Voters cast ballots at nearly 14,000 polling stations to elect 253 of the 300 lawmakers. The remaining 47 proportional representation seats are allotted parties according to the number of votes they received overall. So, yeah. A judge in New Jersey has ruled that Republican presidential hopeful Ted Cruz is a, quote, natural-born citizen under the U.S. Constitution and may run in the state's primary election in June. A group of residents had challenged the Texas senator's eligibility for presidency. He was born in Canada to a Cuban father and an American mother. You know, sometimes, I mean, this kind of things usually tends to be rubbish because, yeah, with Obama, people still are, he wasn't born here. Well, frankly, they're a bunch of friggin' idiots. And now they're doing it for Ted Cruz. Guess who's behind that one? You know what? Instead of continuing on with this article and getting angrier, because the next one probably can get me angry too, I'm going to feature a little bit of a song based on my opinion of the current frontrunner of the Republican Party. Enjoy.
An exciting meal has been ruined by the presence of this liquid filth. 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 Liquid
Yeah. Whoa. Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to bother continuing. There's two bases of citizenship here. One is being physically born on U.S. soil, and when most presidents here have basically been on base off of that. And there's the other way you can do it because one of your parents happens to also hold American citizenship. And you know what? Apparently Ted Cruz falls in that second category, but not necessarily the first. Both of which are recognized by law and Constitution. Yeah, I'm not enthusiastic. And more shit posting. My apologies. Fun posting. Here over from Kenya. Can you guess what this one is? Probably not. Chinese authorities say they have jurisdiction over a group of Taiwanese who were taken from Kenya in a high-profile diplomatic incident. What a load of rubbish. State council and security officials said the Taiwanese were part of a telecom fraud ring which cost mainland victims billions of won. It is the fullest explanation from China since the furor began this week. Taiwan has protested the move, calling it, quote, extrajudicial abduction, and demanded the group's release. China's praised Kenya for supporting its, quote, one China policy, China's policy, one quote unquote, one China policy, which you should remember, which you should know is a load of rubbish. Now, granted, most countries only recognize either Taiwan as legitimate representation of all China or the People's Republic of China, mostly the PRC, because of reasons. And, you know, that's part of the back policy of, well, both nations. That's not, that's sort of falling apart. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a load of crap. Let's continue the article. Beijing views Taiwan, self-ruling since 1950, as a breakaway region must be reunited with the mainland. Taiwan, on the other hand, sees the mainland as our breakaway region that must be reunited with Taiwan. It insists that other countries cannot recognize both China and Taiwan, with the result that Taiwan has formal diplomatic ties with only a few countries. Because, unfortunately, it's a lot more economically advantageous to support the PRC for reasons understandable to few human beings. Taiwan does not have formal diplomatic relations with Kenya. China's public security minister said the group of 45 Taiwanese people were arrested in Kenya in 2014 and earlier this year, along with a number of Chinese citizens, for conducting telephone scams. Kenyan officials had decided to hand them over to Beijing for investigation. 8 of the Taiwanese were among the first group of suspects sent to China on Saturday. The remaining 37 were sent on Tuesday, with Taiwan claiming they were forced on board a plane by Kenyan police wielding rifles and tear gas. The public security minister said in comments reported by state news agency Xinhua that it opened investigation as the fraud's main victim were all mainland citizens. It added that, quote, according to the country's laws and rules, our legal departments have jurisdiction over the above criminal suspects, including Taiwanese. It said it welcomed Taiwan's cooperation with the investigation, which is probably not going to happen because you kidnapped a bunch of people, you frickin' NWAs.
Systemic oppression.
My apologies, that was the wrong thing. But yeah. Yeah. It's a load of rubbish. We will end with this, because I think we can all agree that what happened here was rubbish, along with the people involved. A device being presented as evidence at his trial in Pakistan in a Pakistani court blew up after a judge asked a police officer to show how it worked. At least 2 people were injured, including the policeman, in the blast of an anti-terrorism court in the city of Karachi. Some reports say the device was a grenade taken from the defendant. Police later said it was just a detonator with an explosive element that should have been defused. The incident took place on Monday at a trial of a man accused of extortion and of carrying out a number of grenade attacks. Police said several devices had been found when they arrested him. The device presented in court was at the request of the defense. The judge, Shikali Haider, then asked how it worked. A part of the device was pulled from it, and it exploded, throwing the judge off his chair. Senior police official Jamil Ahmed said the explosives around the detonator had been made harmless, but added, quote, "We are investigating how the detonator was brought to court without being defused." UXO. It's dangerous for everyone. We will return after a break here on Lake Effect Radio. This is Lake Effect Radio.
You're listening to the magnificent, fantastic Lake Effect Radio Live.
These days, learning never ends, and college really matters. So more people than ever are going to Lakeland Community College. People of every age are trying to learn something new, and Lakeland is for everyone. high school graduates just starting out, people trying to get good jobs or just trying to improve themselves. At Lakeland, it's never too late to learn. It's our college. In Lake County, opportunity starts here at Lakeland.
Hey Lakeland, start off your semester right with a charged mobile device. Now at Lakeland, we have 4 mobile device charging stations that can use for free throughout the campus. They are located in Breakers, E-Lounge, C-Lounge, and Y Building Game Room. Each device comes with 8 cords for mobile devices. Get charged up today. These were provided by Lakeland Student Government.
Join Lakeland's Campus Activities Board to welcome the spring season for their annual Spring Fling Week. Monday will be laser tag in the main gym in the Y Building from 12 to 4 p.m. Tuesday will be Zoo Day in the multi-purpose gym from 11 to 1:30 p.m., where you get to see live animals on Lakeland's campus. Wednesday will be Health and Wellness Day from 11 to 1 p.m. in the student atrium in front of Breakers, where students can get free healthy snacks and even get a free massage. Then finally, Thursday will be Indians Day from 11 to 1 p.m., also in the student atrium, where students will get a chance to win free Indians tickets and other prizes. All this will take place during the week of April from the 25th to the 28th. If anyone has questions, feel free to come to CAB's office at S224, second floor of Breakers. Once again, this is all for CAB's annual Spring Fling Week.
Textbooks on reserve at Lakeland Library. Select textbooks are now available for students to check out and use in the library. Donations of current textbooks to the Textbook on Reserve. Programs are encouraged from instructors and students. If your textbook is not currently available in the library, please contact your instructor to provide a copy of their textbook for the Textbook on Reserve program. For more information on the library-initiated Textbook on Reserve program, please call 440-525-7424.
Be sure to watch us live on www.livestream.com/lakeeffect.
Brain Center walk-ins in the library, C351. Free and no appointment needed. Need assistance in guiding and enhancing your writing skills? A Writing Center tutor is available to students working on assignments, papers, and projects. They are available Monday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., Tuesday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., Thursday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 440-525-7425 for more information. Seasonal and part-time spring job fair, April 13th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Lakeland Community College Bookstore Hallway. Speak with employers about summer part-time jobs, obtain your career information, open to public, bring your resumes, and dress professionally. For more information, please call 440-525-7222 for a list of employers and success tips at careers.lakelandcc.edu.
And now the weather forecast for Kirtland, Ohio, and by extension the campus, for the next several days. Today, partly sunny, high 45. Northeast wind 5 to 9 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 34. East wind 7 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny, high 52. Northeast wind 6 to 11 miles per hour. Thursday night, clear, low 37. East wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. And Friday, sunny, high 60. Southeast wind 7 to 10 miles per hour. And an overview up through Tuesday, no precipitation expected. So, barring possibly temperatures being a bit too low for comfort, it seems like it might be a good idea for engaging in some outdoor activities, such as possibly, I don't know, vandalizing property belonging to the Republic of Turkey. If you happen to despise Erdogan, like I hope some of you do, personally. Here's another reason for that. A German TV comic, Jan Boherman, has been placed under police protection after he read an obscene poem about Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. A police spokesman said a patrol car had been parked in front of his house. Mr. Erdogan has filed a criminal complaint against the satirist, and the case has prompted debate in Germany over freedom of speech. German prosecutors are investigating whether he broke the law against insulting foreign leaders. Public broadcaster ZDF announced earlier on Tuesday that his weekly satire program would not go ahead this week because of the, quote, vast amount of media reporting and the resulting focus on the programmer and its presenter. It was not immediately clear if a concrete threat had been made against Boherman, but Cologne police told German media, quote, when you can't rule something out, then you have to do something. Bild website reported that the satirist and his family were apparently facing a threat from supporters of the Turkish president. No request for protection measure had come from the comic, but were a result of risk analysis, reports said. Boherman, considered Germany's most incisive satirist, had read the obscene poem at his Neo Magazine Royale program on March 31st, making it clear that it included material that broke German laws and free speech. Section 103 of the Criminal Code bans insulting representatives or organs belonging to foreign states, such as livers, stomachs, and possibly even the skin. Well, obviously skin, because that sort of gets into racism, but probably also the colon, the anus, and other such organs as well. Actually, scratch anus from that. That's probably not an actual organ in the medical definition. In particular, the poem made references to sex with goats and sheep, as well as repression of Turkish minorities. Days earlier, another German TV programmer that poked fun at President Erdogan had prompted the Turkish government to summon the German ambassador in protest. On that occasion, both Germany and the EU insisted that press freedom was inviolable, just like human dignity. However, Chancellor Angela Merkel became involved in the latest row when she told Turkish Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu that Boherman's poem had been, quote, deliberately offensive. The poem itself has been removed from ZDF's website. Although a number of viewers complained about the broadcast, Chancellor Merkel has herself been criticized by political opponents for jeopardizing freedom of speech in order to shore up the EU-Turkey deal on returning migrants from the Greek islands. Hannelore Kraft, State Premier of North Rhine-Westphalia, where the satirist lives, tweeted that freedom of satire is part of German democracy. Quote, this should not be put in doubt, certainly not through external political pressure. Mrs. Merkel emphasized on Tuesday the deal with Turkey bore no relation to legal action facing Jan Boherman. Quote, freedom of the press, opinion, and science apply and are completely separate from that, she insisted. German Chancellor has been expected to visit Turkey in coming days to open facilities built for refugees with EU funding. However, a spokesman made clear on Monday that there were no immediate plans for a trip. And a bit of analysis from Damien McNinnis from the BBC News, based in Berlin. To some, the poem was puerile, vulgar, and irresponsible at a time when Europe needs Turkish help for the refugee crisis. To others, it was an ingenious work of subversive art which highlighted the importance of freedom of speech, a sketch which even President Erdogan is now playing his part, specifically with his favorite hobby. And I got in contact with John Jafari, in fact, and asked him what he thought Erdogan's favorite hobby is. Do you know what it is?
Systemic oppression.
Actually, that was from the Barbie Games episode, but I figured it would actually work very well here. Either way, John Boherman always goes a step further than polite society generally allows. Clever, funny, and complicated, he has single-handedly revolutionized German public broadcasting. During the height of tensions between Athens and Berlin over the Greek debt crisis, Boherman portrayed Greek Finance Minister Yanis Varkuvius as a vengeful motorbike-riding sex bomb. But it was his fellow Germans and the rest of the media establishment that the comedian was mocking. A jaunty 1930s-style Springtime for Hitler remake, hopefully possibly even involving Mel Brooks, because he's the one who originally wrote that, wittingly highlighted the similarities between the views of the anti-immigrant party AfD and Nazi-era policies. Even refugee helpers have been fair game, as Boherman mercilessly portrayed modern multicultural Germans as self-righteous, unstoppable horde of Muselli-eating, Birkenstock-wearing sexual perverts. But for Boherman's many fans, the fear is now that taking on Turkey's president has been a step too far. A step too far only because, apparently, again, Erdogan's hobby is systemic oppression. Shall we do the Cliff Racer song in honor of Erdogan being an absolute SOB? You know what? I don't care if everyone listening to you is yelling and screaming for them not doing so in case they suffer scanners like death. I'm doing it anyway.
Flying, flying, flying in the sky. Cliff Racer, fly so high in the sky. Cliff Racer, fly so high, falling
Yeah. Also in Germany, from the other side of the political spectrum, senior German conservative politician Andreas Schuler has said German must become the language of the country's mosques and that foreign funding from Turkey and Saudi Arabia must stop. The General Secretary of the CSU, which is a sister party of Chancellor Angela Merkel's CDU, the CSU is basically the Bavarian branch of the CDU, said political Islam was undermining integration. His remarks came amid a German freedom of speech role involving Turkey, as we discussed before. The Turkish president has filed a legal complaint against this German satirist because the Turkish president is insane. No, not insane. He's just a malicious SOB. I will skip over the stuff that relates directly with that. This entire thing has created a dilemma, obviously, for Chancellor Angela Merkel, who, along with other European leaders, needs the Turkish government to fill its side of the deal to take back migrants who cross into the Greek islands. European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker stressed on Wednesday that Europe's values and press freedom will not change regardless of the importance of the refugee agreement, making no specific reference to anyone. The German lawyer acting on behalf of Erdogan said on Tuesday night that the client wanted Boherman to be punished, quote, to get him back on the right path. No, I'm not doing that systemic oppression again or the Cliff Racer thing, because that would just get boring. And in his interview with the German daily Die Welt, Mr. Schuler, presumably the lawyer, said Mr. Erdogan's response was, quote, hard to bear, and Europe should not abandon its Enlightenment principles. Mr. Schuler. That would be the conservative politician. That would be a conservative politician from the CSU. Not Cleveland State University, but the CDU branch of Bavaria. Which is in German, obviously. Asked about Turkey's role in funding German mosques, he called for an Islam law that prevented foreign and sometimes extreme values from being imported from abroad. Which may, again, this is getting dangerous on the other side of things as well, possibly. Quote, financing of mosques or Islam kindergartens from abroad, such as from Turkey or Saudi Arabia, must be stopped, he said. Further quote, all imams should be trained in Germany and must share our values. German must become the language of the mosque. Some 3 million people in Germany have at least one parent from Turkey, and most mosques in Germany are part of the Turkish Islamic Union for Islamic Religious Affairs, a branch of the main Turkish religious authority. While many of Germans imams do come from Turkey and are seen as officials of the Turkish state, several German universities set up Islamic centers in recent years with the aim of training a new generation. Several Muslim communities have also moved to free themselves of the influence from Anakra. We have another bit here. And I also have a good clip from that. It's just a show opening. Prosecutors in Lebanon have filed charges against an Australian TV crew for over an attempt to abduct two children in a custody dispute. Line me correctly, O'Reilly. Australia's Channel 9 reporter Tara Brown and 3 colleagues face 4 charges, including kidnapping. 5 people arrested alongside them, including a children's Australian mother, have also been charged. The mother, Sally Faulkner, said her Lebanese ex-husband moved the child to Lebanon without permission. Channel 9 said it had been, quote, seeking to highlight cross-border custody disputes. The Australian journalist and Miss Faulkner were detained by Lebanese police on Thursday, along with 2 British employees of the UK-based company Child Abduction Recovery International, or CARI, C-A-R-I, and 2 Lebanese men, reports officials said. On Tuesday, the official national news agency reported that Mount Lebanon's Attorney General, Claude Karam, had filed charges, including participation in abduction, against the 9 suspects and referred to the case to an investigating magistrate. CCTV footage broadcast by Lebanese TV appears to show 6-year-old Lahala and 4-year-old Noah being bundled into a car by several men on a busy street in southern Beirut on Wednesday morning. They had been heading to a school with a domestic worker and their paternal grandmother, who said she was knocked to the ground during the abduction. On Saturday, Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop told reporters that diplomats had been in touch with Lebanese officials and were providing constant assistance to Miss Faulkner and the television crew. Quote, "Given the sensitivity of the case and the fact children are involved, we are handling this very carefully," she said. Channel 9 has refused to say whether paid CARI to recover children from Miss Faulkner. However, the British Australian Broadcasting Corporation, on Tuesday cited Lebanese officials as saying they had signed a statement from a member of the, quote, recovery team, saying the network had paid 115,000 Australian dollars, which is the equivalent in US dollars of 88,100. Channel 9 said in the statement, quote, "It is extremely important to stress that we are severely limited in what we can say, given the matters are now part of a legal process in Lebanon. We are cooperating fully with Lebanese authorities, and it's important to stress we respect the laws of Lebanon and its judiciary, because they at least try to be just." That's not what they said. That's me. Quote, further quote, "Regrettably, a number of inaccurate media reports are exacerbating the concern and confusion of the families of those being detained." A Lebanese judicial official told the Associated Press news agency that the investigating magistrate would gather testimony from the suspects beginning on Tuesday. The magistrate would then explore whether Miss Faulkner had custody of the children under Australian law, which might serve as a mitigating factor, the official said. The custody dispute between Miss Faulkner and her ex-husband, Ali Al-Amin, has reportedly been going on for several years. She says he took the children to Lebanon for a holiday last year, but did not return. Mr. Amin told Lebanese media that Miss Faulkner and Australian security agencies knew he was leaving Australia with the children and denied kidnapping them. He also revealed that he did not plan to sue his former wife, explaining, quote, "She is a mother of my children. If I were her, I would have done the same." Lebanon is not party to a Hague Convention, doesn't specify which one, a treaty designed to ensure the swift return of children abducted internationally by a parent. And Lebanon is not a party to that. Because I could not press time necessarily discover what exactly that treaty entails, and so therefore I do not know when it was done. I'm not sure whether the United States is a member party of that convention. I'm not even sure the convention is fully enforced right now, because usually you need a minimum number of signatories. So, I have quite a few questions. And finally today, Venezuela's Supreme Court has overturned an amnesty for jailed opposition leaders approved by the opposition-controlled parliament. About 70 activists opposed to President Nicolas Maduro's socialist government had been due for release under the law approved last month, but the court declared the amnesty law unconstitutional. President Maduro had condemned the law as an attempt to destabilize his leadership of the country, as if he's not doing that kind of job himself, perhaps. But I digress. The Supreme Court has consistently backed the Venezuelan government since the opposition triumphed in congressional elections in December. In a statement, the court said the amnesty law is unconstitutional because it covered offenses, quote, that are acts of organized crime, which are not related to crimes of a political nature. Okay, I know I said this before when they passed the law, but I still have another question. If Congress were to do that here, it would also be unconstitutional, but not for the same reason that's being specified here. Because it would constitute a violation of separation of powers, specifically between the executive branch and granting pardons and amnesties, and the legislative branch, which normally can't do that kind of thing. I mean, it can make things not illegal anymore. It can legalize things, but that's different from amnesty, legally speaking. I'm not sure how the Venezuelan Constitution is set up, so presumably that's not an issue, or they have some specific exemption. I'm not sure. The opposition won parliamentary elections largely in a promise to work towards release dozens of what it considers political prisoners. Among the detainees is Leopoldo Lopez, a prominent opposition leader who was sentenced to 13 years and 9 months in prison last year for inciting violence during mass protests. Because Maduro apparently obviously can do no wrong. What a load of crap. The prosecutor in the case later fled Venezuela and told media abroad that Mr. Lopez's conviction had been a political show trial. Also not surprising. Government officials maintained Mr. Lopez was responsible for violence that erupted during protests in which 43 people were killed in 2014. Other political leaders who were set to be free include former Caracas Mayor Antonio Ledesma, who was under house arrest, and former Mayor of San Cristobal Daniel Ceballos. Members of the governing PSUV party have said the amnesty was a carte blanche for, quote, murderers. President Maduro had the choice of signing the law, sending it back to the National Assembly, or challenging it before the Supreme Court. Last week, he told supporters that he decided to ask courts to invalidate the, quote, criminal bill. After the Supreme Court's ruling, he said he would set up a truth commission to deal with jail opposition activists' cases, and that opposition members would be invited to join. I don't believe him at all. I consider him he probably is lying through his face. Critics of the government say the shop tour is stacked with supporters of the president, and presumably also of Hugo Chavez before he kicked the dust. Venezuela is deeply divided between those who support the socialist government, Nicolas Maduro, and those who oppose it. Again, along the same levels as Hugo Chavez. In Friday, the opposition announced it would try to drive President Maduro from power by means of a recall referendum or constitutional amendment to shorten his term. The government denounced that as an attempted coup because they are full of idiots. In other news, I'm not going to read these entirely, but a painting discovered in the attic of a house in France is a, quote, authentic painting of an Italian Renaissance master, Caravaggio, which could be worth up to 120 million euros. Don't know how much that is in American dollars, doesn't say in the article. And the FBI has announced a $25,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of severed Andy Warhol soup can prints stolen from the museum, Springfield Art Museum in Missouri. So if you particularly want to get $25,000 and catch a criminal, then that may be for you. And if you happen to have them, how about you return them, you stupid Noir? But, yes. We are done for today here. Well, I am done here today on Lake Effect Radio. Thanks for listening and putting up with me. Bye-bye. Actually, let me say that. Thank you. Have a good day.